Greetings, surface dwellers. You stand in the presence of the Prince of Blood himself, Namor, the Submariner, the first of his name, King of Atlantis and Lord of the Seven Seas, the Avenging Sun and the first mutant. And for the first time ever, gracing you with my presence on the power of X-Men. I hope you survive the experience. Imperious Rex.
Oh my god, guys! I have the king himself on Zoom. As you heard in the intro, we got Namor in the house.
You may address me as Your Highness.
Oh. That is bold, Your Highness.
That's how you address the king.
Namor cosplay, I am obsessed with you. You know this. You know this because I always regram you. I always tag you. I always call you king. Now apparently I have to call you Your Highness.
No, I appreciate all the support. It's always great when people do that stuff. So I'm like, oh, people are actually interested in what I'm posting. So it's like they like it. It's like it's weird to think about.
I think the internet has collectively let out a big yas and swoon. They definitely love your cosplay. It's next level.
Thank you. I try really hard, and just do my best to get it there.
So we're doing a two-parter here, and as we were talking about before I hit record on the Zoom, I really wanted to dive deep into certain characters.
And you keep running tally of how many swimming jokes we make. So.
Yes, people at home, we are doing a drinking game. If you hear us do a swimming aquatic pun, just take a sip of your beverage of choice, whether it's wine, a mocktail, or water. But yeah, I wanted to do episodes that were a little bit more focused on characters and talk to people who are extremely passionate about them. But the problem that I have with Power of X-Men is that I feel the community is so incredibly interesting. So I can't have you on here and be like, yeah, we got Namor cosplay on here. We're going to talk about Namor's history without talking about you, especially since you're such a prolific cosplayer.
Thank you. So I love Namor, so I'd love to share him with the world. That's kind of my point of Instagram was, I make these cosplays, and I was like, well, there's no con, so what am I gonna do with this? I'm just gonna sit here and I was like, oh, let's get Instagram. That'd be cool. And I just kind of spiraled out from there, and I wouldn't believe we're here at this point. It's just like I'll start posting, and then people start following. I was like, really? Like. Okay.
Well, those are just some awesome shots you have. And you have, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, you're not seeing this on YouTube. He has the Phoenix 5 Namor on the back right there, but you're actually wearing, who's your costume which version?
This is it's the Invaders Now run. Just a vest with some gold, and I got my trident in the back with my cape. So yeah,
I love it, dude. Your cosplay, everything, it's next level. I'm so excited to talk to you. And I really want to know your history with comic books, with Namor, with the X-Men. And let me wrangle myself here because I'm so excited. What was your first comic book that you ever picked up?
So I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically when I was growing up, my dad, he had 6 brothers, and when I go to my grandparents' house for like after school program, because my parents work, they'd have all these comic books there. And so my introduction was basically whatever they had. So my first comic book, I don't remember what it was, but it was Captain America, and it had Baron Blood in it. That's all I remember because I was so young. But that's kind of where I started, which is like they had a lot of like World War II era stuff because my grandfather was a veteran, and so that was just kind of the vibe over there. And so there was like Captain America, the Invaders, that's like I introduced to Namor was through the Invaders, and I was like, who's this guy? And I sourced him out myself. But this is just a whole bunch of different people. Like Nova, I was very interested in, and Moon Knight, and early Avengers, and all that stuff. So that's kind of how I got started. And once I was reading Invaders, I was just very interested in Namor because, you read so much Captain America, and he was my first favorite character. Like, I loved Captain America, just like what he stood for. But then I was reading Invaders, and then you see Namor, and yeah, he's a kind of a good guy, but at the same time, he's like, he's not really like, Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Captain America, always saving the day. Like he's got some levels. He's a little bit of a hothead. He's a little arrogant, and I just really got interested in that. And as I started reading more Namor, like on his own from like more like the Silver Age, I was just like, this guy's so sick because he's not a hero, he's not a villain, he's a king. And that's why, if you ask me why I love Namor, it's because he's a king. He's not gonna choose, the good side of the bad side because it's the right thing to do. He's gonna choose what's best for his people. And I really like that because he could be fighting with the good guys in one issue, and then the next issue he's declaring war on the surface because of like the atomic bombs. And I think people misjudge him on that because he's not being a villain. He's protecting his people. Like what does America do? Like they do some pretty shitty stuff, like even worse than him. So think about that.
You have literally taken us to the dry cleaners with that right there. Yes, absolutely. Well, I think that's what's always made Namor such an interesting, compelling character because he's regal. He's sort of an anti-hero, but he does prioritize his nation over the surface dwellers.
Yeah. He's got a lot of pride in his, I think a lot of when, you think about himself as his arrogance, I think his arrogance is based on, if you insult him, you're insulting his people, you're insulting the surface. And, there's this, this whole thing that's funny. That meme where it's like the guy shoots that guy and is like, why would he do that? Like, that's what I feel about Namor. It's like the surface world is like polluting the ocean, dropping atomic bombs, like killing his people. And it's like, why does Namor hate us? We're so good to him. And it's like, because you're destroying the oceans. And he's like, hey, like, please don't do that. Like he tried to go to the UN and, be peaceful about it. And he was met with like a hate crowd. And people were like, yo, screw you. Like, and he was like, all right, whatever, I tried. Like, he tried to be peaceful about it. And you just like shut him out. And I was like, come on, do you not see what you're doing?
In X-Men Red, Jean Grey was at the UN and she was trying to be peaceful, and the Cassandra Nova came in, blew it up. It became a huge media spectacle. And, she went straight to Atlantis seeking asylum with I'm trying to think of a fun moniker for Namor because I call Jean our God Queen, and I'm thinking about what can I call Namor here? But
King. He's like, honestly, I think it's hilarious how he's kind of like almost like Daenerys Targaryen in terms of like he has so many titles. It's like I can just imagine like someone be like saying all of them at once. There's like, is he done yet? Like what does he have? I love that about him, and that's the things I love about Daenerys. It's just like they're just so regal that they have all these titles to them. So
when you were going through those comics and you were discovering Namor, did you discover the X-Men as well in there?
To be honest, I wasn't really the biggest X-Men fan at the beginning, but there's a funny story to that. So the X-Men, I think it's like a childhood trauma response of why I didn't really read them, because I didn't really read them growing up. I read more like the Earthbound, like Avengers, but I also was really into the cosmic realm because of Nova. Because Nova was my second favorite character of all time. But anyway, so my first interaction with the X-Men, like besides like, oh, they've been in there, was like, I think I was like 5 or 6, X-Men, the first movie just came out in like 2000. I was really young. And I got the first scene with Rogue, where she like kisses the guy and like he gets all like veiny and stuff. That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, so we'd stop watching the movie, and I was terrified of Rogue. Like, and I think that's why I just didn't like X-Men, because they just kept thinking about that one scene. And I just, looking back at it, I think it's hilarious because like you look at the X-Men animated series Rogue, and she's like all like Southern Belle, like, hey sugar. Like I'm just like, I was scared of that. Like I didn't want to deal with Rogue. Rogue scared the shit out of me, and it wasn't until later actually that I really started to watch the X-Men movies and get into that kind of deal. But I actually just got into like a deep dive into the X-Men universe, most recently during the pandemic, because I've read a little bit here and there, like X-Men Red, the Namor specific ones, but I've never done like a full thing. So I'm reading all of like Uncanny from like House of M and still Avengers vs. X-Men, just to, I really like that era. I think that's just a cool one, in my opinion, because I love Scott and I just love the whole aspect of like there might be extinct. So it's pretty cool to read. And I'm getting there. So
the Extinction era is a really interesting one. I think Messiah Complex and Messiah War were great stories. Second Coming was a little more. I think the Kieran Gillian era of where we have Namor front and center, of the Utopian era, like I thought that was great. Those are fun books. I mean, I was putting together, a quick outline, a summary of it, and I forgot, like, the books were pretty good there right before they did AVX. So and Namor really, he shined on that with the X team, and we'll get into your thoughts on his relationship with Emma Frost and other blondes. But, I'm curious, what do you think, though, since you're doing this deep dive into X-Men history as sort of an adult now, and especially in the pandemic where we all have to be alone and like think about everything. What do you think makes the X-Men so special?
I think it's really the whole aspect, and I don't know if it's really been addressed too much, because as someone who read, grew up reading like the Avengers and like all that stuff, 2000s Avengers and all that, it's interesting to like read the X-Men and they're being like, crucified, they're being hunted and all this stuff because of, their mutant abilities. And it's interesting to kind of look at it from a perspective of having read so much Avengers, where it's like, just because they were like a super soldier, or they got their powers from like, a space explosion or something like that, or they're just an alien, like how everyone's like, let's go Avengers, like, there's like president stuff and everyone's like, yeah, I love Avengers. And then the X-Men are just like, yo, fuck you. Like, what's the difference between like an X-Men versus an Avenger besides like their birth? I mean, like, because they're saving the world in their own certain way, but I mean, it just doesn't make sense how someone, like, I guess from a perspective of like people in that universe, like, oh, we love Captain America, he's great, he has superpowers, but we hate this super strong guy because he's a mutant. It's just like, and the Avengers aren't doing anything about it. They're not like, hey, lay off the X-Men. Like, I'm new in X-Men, so like, I don't know if the Avengers have ever been like, hey, can we stop hating the mutants? Like, they're
no,
cool.
There's literally a crossover called Avengers versus X-Men, because the Avengers are the biggest tools on the face of the earth.
They were in the wrong. I won't lie. They were in the wrong in that. So.
Well, here's the thing. The X-Men were on the verge of extinction. And the one thing that was going to save them was the Phoenix. And then all of a sudden, the Avengers care that the Phoenix is returning to Earth because of the Jean Grey incident. It's like, Tony Stark, the Phoenix has returned to Earth countless times since Dark Phoenix. Why now, when the mutants have so much at stake, are you intervening here? And it's not about them wanting power. It's about the X-Men wanting power. It's about them reigniting a species that is about to go extinct. So, I agree with you. You know what? Thank you, Your Highness. Right there.
Like, I've read so much about it's like, where's they ever been like, yo, they're cool, like, stop being a dick to them, like. It's like, so why haven't they done that yet?
Well, I think the X-Men now are taking more of a global position, or cosmic position with Mars. So, and our region soul being Storm. So, I think the X-Men are coming back at the Avengers. So let's see where it goes. But okay, so I'm more curious now about how you see Namor. And one of the things I found really curious when we first started talking was that you sent me a photo of your grandfather and how he kind of looked like Namor.
Yeah, there was this my dad like found this portrait and he sent it to like our family. It's like, oh, look what we found. It's just like a portrait of him when he was over at the war. And I just looked at it. It was like a side view, and I was like, it kind of looks like Golden Age Namor. Like, so I went into Photoshop and I did like the eyebrows and the ears, And I was like, shit, that's Golden Age Namor. And I was like, it was just really cool to kind of see those. It's like if I might have been trying to see something, I don't know, but to me, it looked like he kind of looked like Golden Age Namor in that portrait with like the ears and the eyebrows. Like I found a picture, like a side profile from the Golden Age, and I was like, that could be me. I guess genetics right there, you know. It's a weird thing actually. You know, I have like a larger forehead, but you know, none of the men in my family go bald, which is great. But but I got like almost like a widow's peak kind of deal, and I kind of all related to that as an adult when I was like, oh my god, am I going bald? My dad's just like, no one's bald in our family, you're good. So I was like, so I kind of relate to his hairline. It's a really weird one, but I do.
I love that you relate to his hairline.
Yeah. I don't know, I got a big head.
But do you think it was the fact that he sort of reminded you of your grandfather that you gravitated towards Namor?
I don't think so.
And the whole World War II thing?
No, he was in the Korean War, not World War II.
Oh, sorry.
But you know, you wouldn't know.
I don't know your family history.
How do you not know this? Come on, it's 101. But you know, I think I gravitated toward him as a kid. I think because I was very shy and social anxiety, and I still have that. I think I gravitated toward that as a kid because you just see this dude. He's like talking in the third person. You know, he's like talking like you know, he's the shit. He's the king. Like, you know, everyone. You know, I look at me. I'm Namor. I don't know. It was like he's obviously like has some arrogance to him, but I kind of liked that. You know, he kind of just did what he wanted because he was Namor, and I like that edge. I obviously don't want to be exactly like him because he does have some arrogance that I'm too humble for that shit.
Oh, are you too humble for that? You literally came on the podcast and told me to address you as Your Highness.
I mean, you know, it's an alter ego. So, you know, it's a dual personality. But I don't know. I really liked his confidence. I feel like even when I started to do cosplay, I kind of just noticed like a trickle down effect because like, you know, I'm like, you know, you're going on these shoots and you're supposed to be standing tall, like you know, bravado and all this stuff. And like, it's just like, oh, okay. So you're doing that. Then you come back home and like, you're walking and you just notice your shoulders are hunched and you're just like, okay, maybe, you know, lift your chest up or just like how you hold your head. And it's like, it's just little things with like the helps with social anxiety. And I didn't even realize it until I was like, oh wait, maybe I'm doing that because of Namor, because I just cosplay. And so it's like, you gotta, you know, vibe with that. And, you know, someone who's socially anxious, it's like, it's nice to kind of be in a position where like, for example, like my pictures for like, if I go to a location by myself or like on a trip, I use my pictures usually with sunglasses or like with my back turned to the spot. But like, you know, I go as Namor, and I'm just like on the thing, like nostrils start like fucking going at it.
I'm sorry, do that face again.
It's like, oh, it's just so weird. Although I tried to do a video thing once, and I was like, I can't act. I can pose and hold the position, but I can't act.
Oh my god! And you're in LA. That's sacrilegious.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm the other end. I'm the behind the scenes aspect. Don't put me in front of the camera. So unless it's a photo.
But I love what you just said about how cosplaying, especially Namor, from his iteration to the comics to how you've sort of embodied him as a cosplayer, has helped you cope with your social anxiety. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever heard another cosplayer say something like that before.
Yeah, because I think it's the whole thing. You know, you're going, specifically for me, you're going to these, you know, public beaches, you're going to Malibu, and, you know, you're going in you're going in armor, you're going in elf ears and this, and, you know, you might get called Aquaman.
What do you say when someone calls you Aquaman?
Like, nope. And like, I'm like, do you know who Namor is? They're like, no. I was like, you should look him up. He's great. He's better, and he came first. So I don't hold back. I'm just like, you better look him up, because it's so weird, because I know no one means ill by it. I know it's just like you know, I'm holding a trident. People don't know him, so it makes sense. But on Instagram, it's like a peeve of mine whenever someone comments like, oh, look, Aquaman, or The Deep, or like Mr. Nimbus, or Spock. And I'm just like, you know who came first? Namor. You know who's a copy of? all those people.
Yeah.
Namor the first, the literal first. 1939, like they said, Spock's design was based on Namor. Aquaman was created because Namor's sales were doing great. Like, you know, he's first. So,
yeah. And
you know,
obviously the deep is
respect.
a byproduct of that.
Yeah, you know, he started it. You know, he was the first. Namor was the first.
He was the first. Is there a specific Namor storyline that's your favorite?
You know, I don't know if it's because it's like fairly recent, but I love the King in Black miniseries by Kurt Busiek. Oh my god,
yeah.
It was so when they announced that he was getting his own miniseries like this year, like last year. I was so excited. Then I saw it was Kurt Busiek, and I like lost my shit because my favorite storyline of all time is the Kang Dynasty, and you should read it if you haven't read it. It's incredible, and we hate Wasp, and she does some shitty things in there.
My God, your energy, right? Yes, I hate Wasp, and like you sent me those screenshots. Yes, fuck Wasp, except for Michelle Pfeiffer. Like we love Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah,
but Wasp as a character, go fuck off.
Yeah, but when I found out that Busiek was writing it, I like lost my shit, and he did not disappoint. You know, it felt like the most world building we've gotten since the first Mutant, because he hasn't had his own series since like 2011, I think, which is the first Mutant, and he just covered so much ground in 5 issues. Like it was like a really nice thing where it focused more on like kid Namor with like Atuma and Dorma, like all young, and it was great because they finally gave Atuma a backstory, and like he kind of gives some, you know, where his helmet came from. You know, you learn more about Dorma as a child and like her magic wielding, and like they spent all 5 issues underwater, which is where I think they should do. He spends so much time like up and down. Like I feel like there could have been a lot more world building in Atlantis, like especially in the modern age, and I feel like they just kind of dropped the ball there. Because they've done it a little bit, but they just keep putting him on teams, and I just like he needs his own series. Like my dream is I would love to see like a gritty like Game of Thrones-esque Atlantis story. That would be so cool. Like politics, and like he has like stepbrothers, and like just like, you know, people want the throne, and he's like always away. Like I thought that'd be really cool. So.
Yeah. And you just elucidated a really valid point. I don't think I could tell you what Atlantean society in the MCU, or excuse me, the Marvel universe is like.
Yeah, it's hard for me to explain that too. They just keep going all over the place. After the Silver Age, it just kind of like they did a little bit with it in the miniseries in 1984, the Prince Namor the Submariner. They really kind of dealt with Namor as like a restless king, and like how he didn't like his kingly duties, and, you know, being like a politician and being a monarch. They kind of dealt with that a little bit, and how he was restless, and eventually the High Council voted him off the throne, and he was free to explore himself as a surface man, which was great. His character wise, because he came back to Atlantis, you know, in the 90s as a mature king, which was great. But you know, they really haven't done much with Atlantis. He keeps like getting destroyed and moving, getting destroyed and moving. But, you know, a fun fact though is when he was created, Bill Everett didn't want to give it a city name. He based the people as like basically submariners. Like he was interested in like Inuit tribes. So that's why they were based in Antarctica. And so that was kind of the thing at first. They're just like these kind of like nomadic people in Antarctica kind of deal. And I think once Aquaman started like rumors, they were like, okay, we're gonna name it Atlantis. Like
we're gonna get
there first. I don't know the
first
timeline, but like I read the book. It's like Fire and Water. It's like basically Bill Everett creating Namor and like the Human Torch, and just like the amount of thought that went into that is just insane. So it's really a genius.
Did Bill Everett ever oversee the production process for that old cartoon of Namor? Do you know?
I actually don't know that.
No. Have you ever watched it? I'm assuming you have.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't believe I asked you that. That's
like
so you asking me.
Watch, because it's just, oh my, the animation now is just like, I mean, it was great for its age, but you look at it now and it's just like one person just like it's still just like legs kicking, and it's like, but you know, you respect it.
Has there ever been a storyline of Namor that you felt jumped the shark? Oh, let's see what I did there. The drinking game is still going, folks.
I just got that. Jump the shark. I'd say like two things. First and foremost, I think anything Jason Aaron writes with Namor is just not good. He doesn't understand the character at all.
Really?
He doesn't even know basic history. Like
Yeah.
there was this thing in Enter the Phoenix where he like said like his mom threatened to send him to the surface world to live with his father, and it's like, okay, everyone knows basic thing. Like his origin story was his father got killed before Namor was born on like the ship when Fenn got taken back to Atlantis. So everyone knows his father's dead.
Mhm.
And it's like, why would that's this 101. It's not even like some like detailed like it was one issue. It's like it's his origin story.
Yeah.
But he made there's like a fine line, I think, when writing Namor in terms of like making him like a lovable arrogance and a straight up dick. And I feel like Jason Aaron just does not understand him and just makes him like an asshole and not like a good one. Like not even it's like, oh, there's Namor again being Namor. He's just like, yo, fuck this guy. Like even like I was reading it, so I was like, who? He's not nice. He's like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
But,
No, that's a very valid and fair point, because I think something about Namor that really made him shine during the Extinction era was that he was a little bit more well-rounded, vulnerable, and he, as we'll discuss later, he had a relationship with Hope,
Yeah.
like a really nice friendship. And you saw that vulnerability. And I think that's the key to writing good. Same like with Emma.
Mhm.
You don't write Emma Frost to be a bitch. The trick about Emma Frost is that she has a huge heart.
Exactly. Another thing too, he wrote this line in the same thing where he's like I killed a shark because I wanted to see if it would die. And I was like, firstly, you wouldn't kill a shark. That's terrible. And secondly, he was just like, I shed a tear. And like after that, I never cried again. And I was like, Namor is so emotional. You don't even know. Like he cries a lot. Like when Lady Dorma died, he was a fucking mess. Like he was horribly a mess after that. And then when his other wife, Marina, like when she like turned to a fallen monster and like he had to like let her go, he was a fucking mess. Like
that was in Dark X-Men.
Yeah. There was previous in like the Bronze Age of Silver.
Oh.
That's where they met. They had like a whole love story and like he fell. People also think Namor's a slut, and I think he is. He has such a big heart and he loves harder than anybody. But I think he kind of, my theory is how I view him is he's been like so like messed up from like Dorma and Marina and like Jacqueline Buffott. It's like I feel like he's just like he's broken and he's just like doing whatever because he's never gonna love again.
Oh my God.
It's just so heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking. Now I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, this whole thing with Dorma, that was heartbreaking. She's like, they're like soulmates. So, that was like, people should know her because she is iconic. Lady Dorma is his girl, but she's not a damsel. They wrote her as like she was saving his ass just as much as he was saving Atlantis. Like, and she's smarter than everyone in the room. Like, there was one thing where Atuma was attacking and she's like, don't go out there, that's what he wants. And he's like, but I must because I'm the king. And she's like, please don't do that. And then he goes out there. What do you think happens? Like, see, I told you. And then guess who has to save him? Dorma. Like, and like you just know the love is real because when his stepbrother Byra like controlled all of Atlantis, Dorma was not affected because she just loved him so much. And I love that. Like, you're stuck.
Dorma is a gorgeous, regal character, and I remember I haven't read much with her in it, but I remember her in that cartoon show. She was present there, and I've seen it obviously on YouTube throughout the.
A little more damsel in that. I was like, she wasn't saving the day as much.
I have no shame in saying I don't remember the cartoon. I don't remember the plots or anything. Whatever was that grainy version on YouTube.
Yep, all zoomed in, like you can't even see the full screen. Atlantis. I was like,
so Jason Aaron's not your favorite writer to handle him. Who do you think is the best writer out of all the ages to handle him?
I give it to two people. Busiek, of course. Like our whole Namor Nation, like our small but mighty fandom, we love him, and we're like Marvel, please give him a whole solo series, and we only want Kurt to write it, no one else, because he gets the character and he loved it. It's just, please do. And like, we talked to him on Twitter, and it was so cool just to kind of hear about him and what his thoughts were about that. And also, keep Benjamin Dewey as the artist. He did a fantastic job too.
Is he? That was going to be my next question. Is he your favorite person who's rendered Namor?
I think it's him. I think it's Carlos Magno. He does a great job too. He did like the Defenders and the 2019 Invaders. But the other person who I think is great is Greg Pak. He gets the character. Like, I just read Atlantis Attacks. I have it right here. I have all my comics are here. But there's this one line in Atlantis Attacks where he's Namor's fighting Amadeus Cho, and Amadeus is like, he's like, oh, what are you, Namor? Are you a hero or are you a monster? And he's like, I'm a king, so I'm both. And I was just like, boom. That's it. That's fucking it. Like, that's what he is about. And it goes even further, being like, I have to make the hard decisions because I'm a king. Like, and I think it's a great thing of like why I love him so much is because, like, you look at the Avengers or someone like, if say like Captain America wants to take a day off, someone can take a spot, Iron Man can take a spot, save the day if something happens. But like, Namor is a king. He's always on. He's a politician. Like, he's, or not a politician. He's a monarch. He controls a whole nation of people.
Well, he has to be a diplomat. He has to make tough decisions. Yeah.
He makes tough decisions, but was also great in the book was Greg Pak also had him as like, he was reasonable. He wasn't just, he was like, he's still like hot-headed self, but he was just like, okay, I'll give you 24 hours to fix it. Like, and that's it. Like, he didn't just go full on, like, I'm going to attack you guys. Like, all right, well, I'm mad at you guys. I'm going to give you one chance. And then he goes back to Atlantis, and then it's a great storyline, first off. But that's what I love about it. Like, those people know how to write him. So that's what I would say.
No, that was a great response. I'm listening to you, and it's so funny because I've never come across a huge Namor stan. I like Namor very much. And during the Utopian era, I was happy to see him there. We'll get into AVX and everything else. But I'm curious, where do you all meet? Where does this small but mighty nation of Namor stand meet? Like,
it was accidental. Like, I got like a Namor Twitter just to post stuff on there as well. And I found some Namor Twitter accounts, and someone's like, "Oh my God, like, you should totally join the Discord." And I was like, "Okay, it's cool." So we have like this Discord. It's basically Namor Nation. We're a very small fandom. I'm very passionate, and it's really great to have that because even like cosplay friends who know the comics, they don't really know him, but you can go on there and you can bitch about something, or you can talk about your pure excitement about something, and they're all going to reciprocate because they're all on the same level as you. Like, there's people who are more of a fan than I am, and you wouldn't believe it. Like, they're hardcore, like, stands even bigger than me. Like, they know everything about everything, the littlest details. Like, I know a lot, but they know everything. This one person, Imperious Rex with, I think, an X. We call her Imp, so for short.
Well, to circle back on something really quickly that you said about Greg Pak, I interviewed him at Wizard when I worked at Wizard, and I thought he was such a great human being. He was writing World War Hulk at the time, but he wrote Phoenix and Song. And everything you just said about how he got Namor, he got Jean and her relationship with the Phoenix in a way that's really talented. Like, he was able, whether you liked it or not, whether you liked Phoenix and Song or not, you can't argue that he did not connect the dots in the Phoenix history and made it digestible, but also respected everything that came before. And I'm assuming that Namor has just as a complicated history as something as the Phoenix. And it takes a really skilled writer to do something like that.
Yeah, because, the thing too that he does well, he did this one thing, Marvel Comics Presents. It was like a quick couple pages, and it dealt with like, the nuclear bombs and stuff, and how Namor felt about it, and how he hated the surface people for killing them, and also there's this that one, Marvel Snapshots. I don't remember who wrote that, but at the top of my head. But one thing about Namor people don't want to know is he has PTSD. He's got bad PTSD, and I love when writers go into that. I think it's so genius because he's this, guy who can do anything. He can take a bullet. He can take on an army by himself. But he also has PTSD from the war. Like it's heartbreaking to read. Like in that snapshot, like it's after the war. He's reunited with Betty Jean, and like they're going out to the boardwalk, Coney Island or whatever. I don't think it was Coney Island, but it was something else. And, they're having a nice time, but he just can't stop thinking about the war. And then like some villain comes out and, he goes to fights and just loses his shit. Because he's just trapped in this memory about with like the Nazi concentration camps and what he saw. And he's just like, screw you Nazis, like, fuck you. Like, and he was gone. Like the All Winter Squad came in and had to pull him back and be like, it's over, Namor, it's over, you can breathe. And the whole book dealt with PTSD, and it was great. I love when they deal with that, because it's just like it brings him to like a relatable level in terms of like, I mean, I don't have that, but it's like, it humanizes him, because he's not just like this god king. He's a person. He has feelings. He was in a war. Like, things happen. So.
Well, that's the hallmark of writing any good character, is to humanize them first and make them more with a lot of texture in there. I have a curious question here. What do Namor stands argue the most over? Is there like a little fine detail or something in his history that not everyone's on the same page about?
I think we're all similar in terms of what we all hate Jason Aaron. No offense, he's a great writer, we just don't like him. Like when they announced like the Avengers are coming back in October, and like Namor was on the cover, we're like, oh shit, like we'd rather have no Namor than his Namor, is what we said. But it's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a hard stand right there.
Well, because it's character suicide. They're just making him into an asshole, and at a time where Namor is piquing people's interest because of the rumors, like you're putting that on display, and you're ruining 80 years of great storytelling from one writer, because that's what's currently out right now. They don't want to look that hard, and that's kind of the issue, I think, with how people are viewing Namor. They're only thinking about the past decade instead of like the past 80 years. And what's great though is like we all like stand similar things. I mean, there's a couple things to disagree about, but it's not like we're fighting about it. It's just like, oh, that's cool. Like we respect each other's opinions, because it's not like like my way or the highway. It's a really great collaborative community. We all collectively hate Namor Sue. That is something we all hate together. So we do not like Sue Storm and Namor. It is outdated. And if you go on there and you say you hate Namor Sue, like yes. Like,
yes, that's it. You're part of the club. That's like the password to get it.
Yeah, I've never read the Fantastic Four Dan Slott run, but I had a suit getting ripped on all the time in the Discord. They just rip it apart. They do not like it. So,
what about the Speedo? What do people say about the Speedo?
Oh, people love that. They love sexy Namor. But my personal opinion is I think it's iconic. I think it's great. I do think it's a little outdated, and I think it was used a little bit too long. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with it. I just, I love like his current look right now with like the black armor. I think it's so slick. I think it's just like, I always pictured Namor as like this regal kind of character. And I always thought like the Speedo was like, didn't fully emulate that. And I really love when they kind of give him this armor, like this suit that just feels like a regal thing. Like in the Initiative in 2007, they gave him like this, like kind of like all black long sleeves and like pants and like this gold plates and stuff, and like this like gold trident in the middle. It was so cool, and it was only used in like 2 issues.
Yeah,
it was so cool, and like they never used
I remember that. Yeah,
it's so like I want to do that one day. It's on my list, like one day, but it's like that's what I love. It just you feel like what he is. I mean, the Speedo is great. I feel like I want to feel like he's the king, like physically, like in terms of like what he's wearing. So that's just me. So.
What about your thoughts on Emma, his relationship with Emma?
I love him and Emma. I think they are electric together. They are like, the best way to describe those two is like when they're in the room together, they both know they're the shit. They both know they're hot, and that's what makes them a great couple.
Yeah,
they're so they know they're the best. and when they're together, they know that they're even better. It's just like an electric, thing they got going on. I love them. So we love that.
To what we were saying before, they're both characters that people sort of dismiss as an asshole or a bitch,
Yeah.
but actually they're written, if done right, should be written with a lot of heart.
Yeah.
And Emma is a character who has always been a victim of trauma. Her students literally were murdered in front of her. During New X-Men's run, when Jean psychically smashed through her head, Emma was like, don't make me look at my students, because Emma is a teacher first and foremost, and she cares about her fellow mutants. Similar with Namor, he's a king first and foremost, and he cares about the Atlanteans.
Exactly. That's why I love them. They're just like, they're the exact same person, but that's why they make such a great pairing. So I do love them together. So they're electric. So I would love to see that.
What about his ultimate alliance? No, I was going to say ultimate alliance. His ultimate appearance when the Ultimate Verse was a thing.
He didn't really do anything.
Yeah,
he just kind of like a tank. Reed just got the best of him. I think that was it.
Yeah,
it was memorable. So that's for sure.
It wasn't memorable. Greg Land, who worked with Greg Pak on Phoenix Sunsong, did the art for his debut, and it was fine. It was just a little lackluster. I was actually reading through those issues because I was reading Marvel Zombies, and it happened to be the Namor arc was around there. I'm forgetting if it was before or after. And I was like, oh, okay, there's Namor. And now he's gone.
Okay, blink and you miss him kind of moment.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Namor. What about, we have to ask about this because What If is obviously trending everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. Do you have a favorite Namor What If? Are you going to pull out an issue?
I think I got them.
I love that you came prepared.
Listen, I just took my entire bookshelf. I just dropped it right in front of me. Where they are right now. I might just give up, but I will talk while I'm looking. He only has two, but I think they're both really great. Oh, one of them is really great. The other one pisses me off. I can't find them. I'm sorry. There's just so many freaking comics here.
Wow, look at all those comics.
Yeah, but so I think. Oh wait, here it is.
All right,
I got it. Here they are.
He's got it.
Boom. So
wow.
The first one is What If.
Hang on, wait. Let me switch to the speaker view. All right.
Yeah, that's the first one. What if the Submariners raised on land? The other one was What if Submariners stopped Destiny? The Submariners raised on land was written by Greg Pak. Did a great job with it. It's so tragic. Because he basically loses everybody, and then so basically what happens is Pearl Harbor happens, and he saves everyone, and the government enlists him and the Human Torch, and then basically the Human Torch dies, and then Namor goes to investigate, and he finds Atlantis is taken over by Nazis, and his grandfather dies, and he finds out Human Torch was used as a weapon, and Human Torch dies again, and then
oh my god,
it gets even worse because when everything happens, he tells the government, he's I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore, and they blow him up.
What?
Atlantis. And he survives, but it's he loses everything in that comic, and it's just so sad. But then the What If with loses Destiny. Those who don't know, what happened with Destiny is this is not like the X-Men. It's this one villain from way early on. And,
I know.
Yeah.
I've been a huge fan of Destiny since I was 11, so I knew there was another character named Destiny.
Yeah, but what happened in the original run, not What If, he goes to fight Destiny, he loses, and then the ensuing battle causes Atlantis to get destroyed underneath the Arctic Circle, and his mother dies, his grandfather dies, his kingdom's gone, and then he gets amnesia and goes to live as a homeless man in the surface, but he doesn't remember him until Johnny Storm brings him back. After Limbo, but this one was what if he stops him? And this one just pisses me off because he goes up to save the surface, and while he's gone, his stepbrother Byra convinces the people that's oh, where's Namor in this time of need? He's not doing anything. He's a false king, and everyone's yeah, you're right. He is the bad guy. He's false, and he comes back after he saved everyone from Destiny, and he's like, why does everyone hate me? He's like, they're saying false king, like, and all this stuff. I was like, are you kidding? Like, I just saved you guys, and no thank you. And he basically goes into Byra and is like, he's saying, like, what's going on? Like, you're exiled. Like, you have to leave Atlantis. And he's like, all right, screw you guys. So he goes and leaves and tries to figure out what to do. And while he's gone, a coup happens, and like Krang and like goes to like overthrow him. And while he's being overthrown, Atuma, the barbarian, gets word of what's going on, and basically overthrows like both of them and takes over Atlantis and conquers and enslaves it. And like people, Atlantis go out to search for Namor. It's like, we need you. Like, we need you. It's like, you guys exiled me. What do you want? Like, you can take care of it. He doesn't know what's going on, but it's like, you guys said screw you to me, so good luck. And eventually a vision of Neptune comes in and says, like, take the trident, go save your people. And he's like, okay, they are my people. I have to save them no matter what they think of me. And he goes back to save them, stops Atuma, everything goes back, and then they go to scatter into the waves, like, because there's some destructions, like, and the people are like, where were you? We needed you for this. Like, he's like, I'm sorry, you guys exiled me, and like, why are you blaming me? He's like, where were you? It's like, you exiled me, bitch. Like, he didn't say that. He was like, maybe it was my fault that I was too proud to go back to my people. It's like, no, they said fuck you and you left, like you should have, and they're being assholes, so they're being dramatic. So I was like, come on now. It's like,
no, that was incredible. No, I don't want you to end that.
But that was the whole story. So but I was like, come on. Like, I mean, the people of Atlantis can be pretty swayed pretty quickly sometimes. It's like,
well, again, I don't know what Atlantis is like. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
in the Marvel universe, because they haven't done a good job of it. I think now we are going to see Atlantis in future stories in the way that we've seen Wakanda, because you alluded to this already because of the rumors, but Black Panther 2, is it confirmed that he's going to be Namor?
No, nothing's confirmed yet. It's all hearsay. I'm like, so originally, like, I'm not originally happy with the decision because he's not a Black Panther villain, and it's only been the past decade. It started with Avengers vs. X-Men, as everyone knows. His attack on Wakanda wasn't personal or political. But honestly, like, after this time where it's like there's more and more rumors, like, kind of confirming it, it's almost like, I kind of think of it as like the Game of Thrones finale, where I'm just like, I love Daenerys, and even though everything happened the way I wouldn't have wanted it to happen, like, I still love her and I support her and anything she does, and I have to accept it because I can't change it. So, and Game of Thrones, I'm like, burn them all, burn the city. I support you, Daenerys, all the way. But now I'm like, if they bring Namor into Black Panther, I mean, I'm okay with it, because I also think about it too in the way of, like, if they're going to bring him in as antagonist first, which probably would make sense, I'd rather have Black Panther than like Fantastic Four, because again, I hate Namor Sue, so I'd rather have. Plus, also Ryan Coogler is like, he's such a visionary as a director. Like,
he's an amazing director.
If anyone can do him justice, I think it would be him, because I feel like Wakanda is just so vibrant and beautiful, and like, there's so much depth to like the designs, and I feel like if he can do just a little bit of that into Atlantis, I love it.
Well, I feel like I know Wakanda now as a stan, because of what he did in Black Panther and how that movie portrayed Wakanda and put it on the map. So I'm hoping they do that for, Atlantis. I can't even tell you how was the Atlantis in Aquaman. I don't even remember it.
It was just colorful.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. I mean, what I like though is if this is true, the rumors, there's rumors that it's gonna be like kind of Mayan influence, like kind of like a Latino Atlantis. I was actually, I was in Mexico, and I was in the Yucatan, so I saw a lot of Mayan ruins, and the culture is just so beautiful. And I feel like I imagined like these like Mayan temples I was visiting, like underwater. I was like, they could do some really cool shit with that. Like, I love this idea. I mean,
that's very different.
Yeah. And I feel like it would really separate it from, like, because there's going to be people comparing it to Aquaman no matter what. But if you do something so unique, like a Mayan influenced like Atlantis, like, that's just next level. It's not just like that. It's just like, oh, it's a new ball game right there.
Well, and I feel that like if they do, well, first of all, I don't feel anyone's talking about Aquaman anymore. I know it made
Yeah.
$1 billion, but I would argue that it was just great marketing positioning. And I don't think Aquaman, by the way, was a
Oh,
bad movie.
I
I was
like
fine with it.
Aquaman. Yeah, I'm not like the anti Aquaman. I'm just like I love everything. So
And I think Jason Momoa is just a naturally
oh,
like
he's so
likable
good.
human. Yeah, like I would. Why wouldn't I want to see Jason
Yeah,
Momoa? You know, the star of Aquaman. Like, just a really great vibe. And I think he was on Baywatch back in the day, and I remember watching
he's
him.
called Drogo in Game of
Oh
Thrones.
yeah, and he was there on Game of Thrones as well. So I have no qualms. So I trust Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige we trust that he will make, you know, Atlantis very unique and very distinct from what
Mhm.
we saw in the DC universe. And soy cubano, so any Latino representation, like I'm there for it. And also I remember when we were studying Atlantis, this girl in my class back in high school brought in a video that showed Cuba, and then like if the waters receded, what it would look like. And that Cuba, apparently part of it is, you know, the lost city of Atlantis. And I'm like, oh, look at that. At the
That's
time I was
cool.
like, I'm the descendant of, you know, Atlantis, you know, but you
Yeah,
know, so it's just all full circle right now talking to you.
that's why you know you're Atlantean. I'm a submariner. You're my subject. This is great. You may address me as Your Highness.
Oh
So
my God. Bueno, ya tú sabes. Look, I can't beat you at that logic right there.
Well,
Um,
I watched this documentary on like finding Atlantis too because I was interested, and you know, it's not just like they're exploring like locations that weren't Greek in origin, and it was like there was a whole section on like Latin America, like maybe explorers found it over here, in that area. I thought, you know, they could. I believe it.
yeah.
I don't mind it at all. And plus, you know, Namor is not a white man. He's a person of color. So I do. That's who you will find also in the Discord. We all love that it's a person of color and not like, you know, white actor, because he's not a white guy. He even says it, he's just like, I'll take down the white man. You know, he's you know, he's biracial. So it's pretty interesting that they got a great actor. So that's the hope, right?
So switching the tide here, though. Oh, he's going to do
Oh,
it
shots.
right there. Shots right there. So I feel like your cosplay as Namor is very iconic. When did you go from just being a fan and internalizing the confidence that he was imbuing you with while you were reading his comic to wanting to cosplay as him?
Well, I've wanted to cosplay him for a very long time, and a lot of it was prevention because obviously he's mostly shirtless for the most part. It's a lot of it with body issues and what prevented me from doing it in terms of just not feeling like I was fit for the role. But what got me into it was, you know, to basically kind of go over it, it's like, you know, he's, you know, I feel like it's hard with Namor because again, he's on all the time. And you know, there's always an intimidation factor. Just like you're on display, even still, like, you know, when I post stuff, I'm not like, you know, like, oh, I look fantastic. I'm just like, that part looks bad. And that part looks bad. My angle is not that great. So my abs are okay. And it's like, it's just always like, you know, it's nerve wracking to post these things. And even still today, but, you know, eventually I got to a point where I was just like, you know, I got to do him. You know, I was gonna do him a while ago, back in 2018. So like I've always been athletic. You know, I've always done sports. I did like, you know, 3 sports, 2 club sports. I was always busy. But it wasn't until I moved to LA and I wanted to do the Mummy cosplay, and I wanted to build some, you know, muscle for that. So I did that, and I gained a lot, which was great. And then I got injured. I was out of the gym for about 7 months, and that got really dark and depressing. But we won't go over that.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
over that part of my life, which is great. But I was that summer after the Mummy. I was gonna do Namor right after the Mummy, and just it never happened. And then I was out for 7 months, so obviously didn't do it again. And then when I got my muscles back, I just didn't feel like I was ready. And then what happened was I was gonna do it in the summer of 2020, but COVID. And then what happened was in June, I've always wanted to do a physique competition, but I never could. And it was also partially I wanted to do it because I wanted to prove to myself that my injury wasn't holding me back anymore, because it's still kind of present and I got to be cautious sometimes, especially with like chest exercises.
Mhm.
But, you know, to me, doing the physique competition was a way of just like letting go of the past and not holding on to this injury mantra anymore. But also I was like, if I do this, I'll be in top tier position and I'll time out my first shoot with Namor with my competition. So I did the competition prep for about 5 months, and then I built my first armor, the black armor, and did a shoot. And like after I did that, I was like, why am I gonna stop like making Namor? I want to do more. Like I want to do the Phoenix, I want to do the Invaders, I want to do all of them. I think it was like kind of like, you know, everyone can do cosplay. It doesn't matter what size you are. If you love the character, you can do it. And I feel like I never believed that myself. Like I said it, but I never believed it from my personal viewpoint until I did my first Namor. And I was just like, I can do this. I don't need to be like a bodybuilder. Like I can be, you know, muscular, but I don't need to be like a roid rage character, which is, you know, sometimes like you see people who can just put on green Speedo and call themselves Namor, and you know, there's no hate on them, but it's like, you know, people be like, oh my God, it's so accurate. Like, look at that. And it's like, it makes you nervous to like put yourself out there because you're not at that level. And it's like, well, what are people going to think of like someone who's not a bodybuilder, but it has some muscle on him? Is that good enough? So that's kind of the hardest part with posting him, like, you know, and I feel confident now to do him. You know, I'm still sometimes nervous, you know, but I just think, you know, I just didn't want to stop. And it's just fun to do one character actually, because you get to live in his head. You know, you're not just going from one character to the next. And also I have like an obsessive personality. So like if I, you know, it's nice to stick with one character and like other characters on the side. There's just like a straight path to look down, and it's like, oh, I want to do this. Then like a couple minutes into that, I'm like, oh, but I want to do that too. And like you lose interest in that one. It's like, and that's I'm like, you just Namor, just do Namor, and then you're good. So.
What was it like that first time you put on the costume and you were Namor, and there was so much anticipation building for you personally? What did it feel like?
It was really cool. Actually, that's you know, that's what kind of kept me doing it.
That's my Oprah question.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's iconic to don something like that and be like, oh, like this is me. Like you get the ears, you get the suit, you get the big armor, like. You know, it was really cool. And actually the one that actually blew me away was when I put on the Phoenix armor for the first time, because it's a little bit more it's super accurate in terms of the comics, and I just was in that mirror and I was like, holy shit, I'm the Phoenix. Like it's so, like
that's a great costume right behind you.
Yeah I hold my gold. We can't wait to take it out in the sun, so it's like reflective, so it's not paint, so it catches sunlight, so it's pretty cool.
I love that little detail there. That's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how do you classify then yourself in the cosplay community? Are you a builder? Are you a designer? Like you obviously go order that. You build that yourself?
Yeah, I am 100% through and through a builder. I do everything you see is built by me except for gloves. I did that once and it was a
disaster.
So never making gloves again. I will modify them, but yeah, everything you see, I make it myself. I don't buy anything. You know, if people want to buy stuff, you know, go for it. Like some people just like to get that faster, and I understand that. And so I'm not like, I know some people are like, you know, like, oh, you just buy stuff. Like you're not a real costume. It's like, it's still cosplay. You just didn't make it, because sometimes it's a long process.
How long does it take? How long has like your Invaders outfit today? By the way,
this one took a few weeks. It's all sewing, but. The Phoenix and my black armor took about 2 months each, 2.5 months. That's usually the average for the bigger builds. But I love, you know, personally, I don't think I could ever buy. Like I did it once for Homelander, but that was for Halloween. But there's just like, I feel like building a cosplay is like 75% of the fun, because, you know, you get the cosplay and you finish it and then you go take photos and it's great. But I love building because you get this idea in your head, and over the 2 month span that you're committing to this thing, you're slowly watching your vision come to life. And it's really exciting to be like I'm making my new Namor right now, and it's like progressing really fast. And I'm just like, I'm loving what I'm seeing. It's like, this is what I was picturing in my head. And now it's like right here in front of me. I love to build, and I'm very, you know, it's a creative outlet really. And it's just to kind of see like what you can do. Cause I like to look at pictures, like a roadmap, just like, or like a base. Like, okay, so this is cool. It's black. It has a little bit of gold. what can I do with it? How can I elevate it? Like what details can I add to it to make it look real? Because that's my thing. I love realism. I love making things look realistic and adding depth to them, like not just a carbon copy of like, you know, something. I feel like I just love to add my own personal touch to it. And that's what I really like to do. But as a cosplayer, I always challenge myself each cosplay, whether it's like a new trick, a new challenge, a new material, just to kind of build my toolbox in terms of me personally, what I can do. Like what I do now is like, I can never do that at the beginning. Like my first cosplay was the Punisher, and I spray painted a skull on some paintball vest. But like now I'm building these things, these built armor pieces. Like I'm making tridents out of Bondo, and like, you know, I
don't even know what that means.
It's just like, it's a hardener you put on foam so it can get really smooth.
Wow.
For trident. But I'm also like a self-taught sewer. Like when I did Aegon Targaryen, I need to make, you know, a bodysuit for that. And, you know, my first cosplay that required sewing was like Ultimate Hawkeye, but that was 2016. And I had my girlfriend's mom do it for me. But Aegon's a couple years later, not with her anymore. So I was like, well, shit, I can't just be like, hey, like, do you want to make this cosplay for me? Like,
we're no longer together.
We're not together, but like, do you want to help me out?
By the way, you need to address me as Your Highness.
Address me as Your Highness. Like, but I bought a sewing machine, and I just learned online. It's actually pretty easy, but I'm self-taught because I love to make things myself, because it's me, you know. Because also when you finish a cosplay after 2 months and you see that, and you're just like, you see yourself, it's like, that's what I did. Like, I made that myself. And it's like it's an accomplishment for yourself. You're like, I can't believe that's real. Like that was my head 2 months ago. I was picturing myself in that, and it's in front of me. So
wow, that's insane. I mean, so you really go to town on that.
Yeah.
How long did the Speedo take?
An hour. That was a last minute decision, actually. I was, you know, to be honest, I was never gonna do the Speedo for a while. That's one that really terrified me to do, because everyone does that. It's the most costly Namor suit, and it's like, am I good enough to do it? Like, you know, it's just insecurities, because there's no armor, there's no uppers, it's just the bracers, and like I call them briefs because I won't do full on Speedo, but it's basically everything showing, you know, all your muscles, all your legs, like you got to fully flex and all this shit. So I was terrified to do it, and I wasn't going to do it. But I was like 2 days out from my physique show in June, and I actually had a shoot the same day. I didn't schedule it; just happened to be like that with my friend who made the scheduling. But I was like, yo, I'm looking pretty good right now. Like, I feel like this is the only time I'm going to be this dehydrated, this cut, like this lowest everything, until I do my next show next summer. So I was just like,
now or never.
I'll do it, and if it looks like shit, I just won't post it. And I did it, and I was really, really freaking happy with it. And I've done even more. Like I got a new photo series coming out. I did in Buffalo with this amazing photographer, Dale Altman. You know, he's incredible. And like what we got is, I cannot wait to share it. It's next level. It's so cool.
All right, I'm excited.
Yeah, but I just, you know, even when I was then, you know, doing the Speedo, I was fucking terrified. I was like, holy shit, is this gonna look good? Like, do I look good? Like,
well, I mean, listen, you're talking to someone who's literally writing about body dysmorphia and fear of, you know, of bodily anything relating to the body, because I think there's unnecessary machismo that's thrusted upon men in society.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and you know, I know you had stories of when you did other cosplays. You mentioned the Punisher, that someone came up to you when you were at LA
Comic-Con. It was actually my first cosplay ever. Like I did a Captain America, but that was like a Halloween thing. My first made it myself spray painted, but I was tactical gear and the Punisher vest. I went to LA Comic-Con, my first con ever. So I'm the opposite. Usually people go to cons and fall in love with cosplay. I was the opposite. But you know, it was a great experience. I loved a lot of people there, and got some photos taken. It was a really cool experience. And then I guess someone from the LA Comic-Con page or something took a picture of me. Like I had Instagram at the time, but it was just my personal. So I wasn't like promoting that cosplay like I am now. But they posted on their LA Comic-Con page, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, you know, they recognized me. And then there was a comment, and to be honest, you shouldn't beat yourself up over this because they're trolls, but like there was a comment that was just like, isn't the Punisher supposed to be muscular? And it's just like, it shouldn't have affected me that much, but as someone who was like living on a high, like I look great as Punisher. Went really hard, like I look fantastic. That kind of like killed me a little bit because I think that's what kind of prevented me from doing Namor for so long, was because it's like, am I good enough to be his size? Like, am I Namor worthy? It's like, it's the Punisher. It's like, sometimes he's not even Jack. Like, and it's like,
Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, I'm looking at the photo of you as a Punisher right now, and you look Jack. No one wants to fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like some people, like I wrote a story a couple years ago about being male anorexic, and it was the first time I ever published a story like that. And I had before and after photos of when I was working out, really well, and how I looked before when I was starving myself. And I was down, I'm 6 feet, and I went down to like 122 pounds, 123 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, and I was curious what people were saying in the comments. And one of the comments was, is it just me, or doesn't he look better when he was starving himself? And you're like, whoa, like, did you not even read the essay where I almost like killed myself trying to look a certain way? And and my deep seated problems with my body image issues, you just need to deal with that and like move forward. You know what I mean? Because the internet says the meanest things ever, and it's less about you and more about them. And when I say you have to deal with that, I'm not saying you. I'm like, in general, the internet, like, they're just mean. Although I will say, Power of X-Men, we've been very lucky, and I say this all the time, there's not much hate that comes in. And if there's anything hateful, it's just deeply problematic people who don't follow or engage with, other X-Men communities. They're just random like bots who just drop horrible slurs and they get blocked. But I'm sorry that you had to deal with that.
Oh, I mean, whatever makes me stronger, I guess. And but I've been very lucky. No one's been,
Okay, Kelly Clarkson.
I was referencing something else, but okay. I was referencing Black Widow. But
that's right. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, no one's been commented about my size or my muscular enough for Namor,
because you do physique competitions. That would be ludicrous that anyone says something about your size or your physique. Ludicrous.
But it's been great because I'm always nervous when I post pictures like that. Even still, it's like the first speedo pic, I was like, oh my god, am I really gonna post this? I don't want to post it. I look great, but is it good enough? People are gonna respond to it. I'm not a bodybuilder, but is it good enough? And
spoilers, they did.
They did. It went over well, and it gave me confidence to do even more. That's the Buffalo shoe is a speedo shoe.
And I think it's less about how you look, but also like you just got swag, man. Like you got the Namor swag. It comes across in your photos.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hi, welcome to Power of X-Men. Hi.
It's like the face, but it is like what you're saying about like the machismo. I think people don't really think about like the male aspect of us being like looked at as you look at like a Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth or something like that, and they're like gods basically, and you think, oh, that's achievable, but to be honest, it's really not unless it's your full-time job. Like even like Chris Evans is like, yeah, I get as big as I can, then I just get smaller slowly over time as I start shooting Captain America. Like you just and people feel like you're supposed to be at that level, I think. And I don't know, that's just my personal take on it. And I think I think as myself as like, I don't see myself as like someone crazy muscular. Like and it's hard to think of yourself. Like, I don't know how to describe it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get
self-involved. Like look at me. I'm like, oh, like I'm like Jack. Like, look at me. I'm like I love the gym, but I'm not like, pressing enough people's throats.
Well, I'm looking at some of the physique competition photos you sent my way, and you look very jacked. What's it like doing physique competitions? What's that scene like?
Well, it's about 5 months or 6 months of training with your coach. And it's super strict diet, which is fine. You know, I have OCD, so I like repetition, and I feel chaotic if I don't have it. So I don't mind eating the same thing every day, which is great. For this, I don't feel the temptation. But what the week of the show is, like the day of the show, is where it gets complicated because you do eat a lot. Like there was a 4-week period where I was eating 5 cups of rice a day.
5 cups of rice a day?
Yeah, there was like a 4-week period. That was the only time I hated it in my diet. That was just
Wow.
that was rough. That was a lot. But the day of the show is complicated. The night before at 5 p.m. you can't drink. You got to stop drinking water, and you can't drink water again until you're done with the show. So you're dehydrating yourself, and it's interesting how it works. I don't understand the science of it, but basically, when you don't drink water, and you eat a little bit, and then all day for the show you just eat rice cakes, which is a disaster when you're super dehydrated because it's dry as fuck. And basically, before you go on stage, 15 minutes before, you eat like a Milky Way or something high in sugar, and then you risk like the band workouts just to get a pump. And because there's no water in your system, the carbs will like stick to your muscles and give you a bigger pump. I don't understand the science of it, but it works. So
okay, sure.
Yeah, that's what I said. All right, sure.
Sure. No, dude, like on a very flip side of that, like with my starvation and anorexia, I've always said I don't like water because water makes you bloated. And that was the first thing you learn about when I used to go on like pro anorexic websites, back when it was really bad for me. And that's the first thing they say, water weight is for fatties. And it's so strange, the deep psychology culture of that. But
that's strange.
But you're doing like physical competitions and stuff like that, and like that's just gnarly the way the biology of it works.
Yeah, and it was like, what was the biggest thing about it was I kind of did it hand in hand with Namor, so it was kind of like a journey together. I always think about it. So
you guys were growing together.
We were growing together. I am him and he's me. Because that's what I did. I planned everything based on timing of my cosplays and my shoots based on these competitions. Because like, this is the best I'm going to look right now. So let's get this on camera. Get it pictured. So, which has been great. And I'm not doing another one until next summer. Taking a little break because I have too many things going on to focus on a strict diet. Still very strict, but I'm allowed to go somewhere and eat something that I really want to. So
I love it.
Yeah,
good.
It's really fun. So
I'm looking at your Joker.
Oh, that was Halloween. It was great. I was the Joker. I did go home with the Harley Quinn. It was great. Although my bed had a lot of white makeup paint. But it's an accomplishment, I say.
There you go. Look, man, that's
I love Harley. So
is Harley your favorite? One of your favorite DC characters?
Margot Harley. I respect the animated character, like the comic character, but I only like Margot. I think she does an amazing job. I've seen the Suicide Squad twice already. I'm gonna see it more times. She's incredible. So I love her as Harley.
So what was up with I'm looking at some of them, the Homelander one. I love this one so much. How did you go about making Homelander, and why step into his boots?
Homelander that's the only cosplay I've purchased. It was for Halloween. And because I just didn't care enough. Plus I was making Namor at the time, so I just didn't have time to do 2 people. But I actually I bleached my hair for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just like, I want to do a Homelander shoot, but wigs are stupid. And because I tried to get a wig for Aegon Targaryen, it just looked like shit. And I was like, it's COVID. No one's going to see it. I'm going to dye my hair, bleach it. Never again. First up, I dyed my hair back like a week later to like my natural color. Because I was like, fuck this.
I just bleached my hair. It's growing out now, but
it works for you though. Yeah, that's you pull it off. I can't.
It's a hard process.
It is. It's a pain in the ass. So
yeah. And you got dark hair. You got dark hair. Yeah, you got to do a double process and all that.
Yeah, it took a lot longer than I thought. And I was like, damn it, I'm really committed to these photos now. But I love Homelander. He's just this fucking psychopath, and I love it. So I love when characters are crazy. We go a little
Crazy,
bit.
but also like there is emotion. There is a human.
Yeah.
There is something human about him, in how he is crippled and how he is angry and his need.
Yeah,
I love The Boys. I think The Boys
me
is
too.
a phenomenal series. I just love it so much.
Fantastic. Like I don't know. I like the characters who are a little bit crazier. Like I think that's maybe like Namor. It's like they're a little more of a wild card. So like everything.
So
Like that.
so how has Namor helped you evolve finally as a person now when you're looking back on everything with him and that you're growing with him? How do you how would you define that relationship with that character?
I think it's really big because I did cosplay like maybe like one big one a year. Like I did do the Mummy, and then I did the next year I did Aegon Targaryen, and like then obviously COVID. But you know, I always did something big for LA Comic Con. That's my home base. I call it. I always go there. Just
My New York Comic Con.
I went to New York Comic Con once. That was cool.
Oh, yeah.
I met John Bernthal. That was awesome. Went to the Punisher and Hawkeye. But I've never been to San Diego. Actually, I can't get tickets for some reason. I've never gotten tickets.
I hate the virtual waiting room. It's
just,
horrible.
I'm always in the virtual waiting room every fucking year. It's like now I'm just gonna go and do the cosplay no matter what. Because I found out you can do that. But anyway, so I always did one big one, and then COVID hit, and I was like, well, I need to do something with myself that's creative, and everything's closed. So I kind of just got into cosplay, and I was doing the physique thing, and at that point I was kind of over television, and I just needed something to do. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make Namor, and then I made Namor, and then I kind of just got like a bug, and I wanted to keep doing it. So I also kind of grew. And what's interesting too is like, you know, when you do one character, it's a lot different than just switching. Like I'm gonna do Namor, then I'm gonna do Star Fox, then I'm gonna do Nova. It's like you're living with one character the whole time, and one thing you come up with ideas like, oh, this would be a cool detail, but it's not going to work for this one, but it can work for this one. Mm-hmm. So you kind of build up like a vibe, I guess, and like similar ideas. Like I always use some sort of like trident emblem on the back of my like armor or this. I always do a fancy design.
Yes.
My back pieces. So that's always something, but it's also just like little thematic things you keep doing with one character, and you also kind of learn who you are with this character and what works for your body, but also is Namor. And it's almost like it's a synergy where you kind of become this character and you understand him. It's like an alter ego, because it almost makes him like I feel like a sense of like ownership, not like is like gatekeeping, like no one else can do him. I mean, like for me, I feel like
it's a very personal character for you. It's a personal internalization.
Yeah, I feel a personal connection to this character, and when I'm cosplaying him, I feel like I'm not just making it for myself, I'm making it for like him, and like doing the best I can to put him in the best light, I guess, and just going above and beyond with my cosplay. For instance, like the one I'm making right now, the big one I'm making for LA Comic Con, I don't think I could have ever done that out the gate with my first one, because it's almost like a culmination of this entire year. It's almost been, January would be a full year, but this entire time I've been cosplaying Namor, it's almost like I've been growing not only as a cosplayer with my skill set and understanding Namor cosplay, but also developing a deeper relationship with Namor in terms of like me being like an alter ego. So it's like I feel a sense of like synergy again, like I said. And this cosplay is like everything I ever dreamt of in terms of like development, details, not development. Just the details of going into this cosplay. Like everything I'm doing has a reason. Every design, every like sanding, every texture I'm doing with this cosplay that I'm gonna do for LA Comic Con. It has a meaning for everything. And
I love that.
It's like, it's not just random. This one is like, there's nothing random. Everything is a pick. Everything has a meaning. There's something behind it. I'm not going to say which costume it is, because it is a real costume from the comics, but in a sense, it's like it's a building block. It's just a starting point, because they make a really good costume, but then it goes into my facts of I love realism in cosplay. It's like, what can I do to elevate this and make this regal and make this look like it can exist in the real world, and elevate it. Because again, like, when artists draw him, they put their own personal flair into his designs, and no two artists draw him alike, even if it's the same costume. There's always something different they bring to the style, and that's what I'm doing with this, because I've been with him for so long as a cosplayer. This one I'm doing, I gave myself 4 months to do it, even though it probably won't take 4 months, because I'd rather have it sitting in my apartment than the con crunch, because as my dad says, I'm too detailed for my own good. And like, I'll like stress myself out because I'll be doing this. Okay, I got to send my deadline. I'm like, wait, that'd be so cool if I did that. And then I'll go to Joann's and I'll get it. And then I'll go back and I'll be gone. I'll be stressed out. But that's kind of how I am. I like
this way you have more time and more padding for it instead of the con crunch, which I didn't know that was a term, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the week before a con, and you got to finish a couple of things for your cosplay, and you're like, oh my god, do I have time?
Yeah, don't procrastinate. Just do it. Yeah,
like I want to get this done and just sit on the mannequin. I don't care how long it sits, 2 months, 1 month, like a week. Just I want this to be the best Namor one I've ever done, and this was like kind of just like a accumulation this entire year put into one costume is what I'm like considering this one. So
I love that. That's really incredible. I can't wait till you unveil it. I don't want to poke or prod, since you're keeping it on lock and key. So but why don't you tell us about the costume you're wearing right now, which is the Invaders? It's insane. I mean, in talking about, I love what you just said about artists putting their own touch onto Namor. Even if it's the same costume, there's still an element they bring to it. This has a lot of elements that are so uniquely yours.
Thank you. Yeah. For instance, like this costume, it's just all black with gold lines, and I kind of put my own spin on it. And I always like to play with fabrics in terms of just like, just elevating them, changing it up a little bit. Like I actually go to this one, they do these screen printed fabrics that are like raised, like this one. Like I don't know if you can see it, but it's
here. Wait, let me.
Shiny.
You're already on speaker. Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, like you can kind of see it's shiny because it's like raised, so it's almost like 3D. And it's called Parallel Life Studios. Everyone should like look at their stuff. They have like, if you really want to elevate it, that's how I feel like it's not just like from Joann's, it's something special. Like, and they do it based on like real superheroes, so you can kind of like take it as it is and play like this is Man of Steel. Like the design is like Superman, but I changed it up to my liking. And this is from Joann's though, but it's a bulletproof one. But this is the vinyl I use for the armor. But I always like to just do some stuff. Like I don't know if you can see the back.
Oh man!
I don't know if it's wrinkled or not, but it's like
no, it looks good. No, I see the trident right there. That looks amazing.
Yeah, I always like to do that kind of stuff with the backs and stuff. Like,
well, that's your insignia. Yeah, it's just sort of your thing.
So that's what I kind of like. Like, I can show you the Phoenix. I don't know if you can see it. No one's really seen the back before.
I cannot wait to see this executed. That looks beautiful.
Like, it's kind of got like you can see a phoenix, a little bit like birds. Like it's kind of meant to look like. I know it's really shiny, but
no, I see it. I that looks incredible. Yeah. And I know some of the people you're going to be collaborating with in the coming days. So I cannot wait to see you next to said person, or if said person is shooting you, or that's incredible. Like that is has anyone else done the Phoenix 5 Namor like that?
Yeah, that's the Speedo and the Phoenix 5 are the most cosplayed ones. Everyone else just doesn't really do the other ones. So no one's done the black armor, which is surprising. So I'm the first person to do that, and I was shocked because sometimes when I started cosplay, I always look online to see what people did, so I can like calm myself down. I was like, okay, it is possible, but and I couldn't find anyone with like his most recent modern armor, and I was like, okay, cool, guess it's all me. So
all right, trailblazer right there.
I'll be the trailblazer. Like, but people have done Phoenix, and they're all fantastic. I want to change mine up. I saw like the gold vinyl. It's shiny as hell. Like,
it's gorgeous.
It's great. I've actually never done an outdoor shoot with it. I did the rain room shoot with it. That was cool. But I tried to do an outdoor shoot with it, but it was overcast. So we rescheduled, and then it was overcast again when we rescheduled it. And I was like, what the fuck? It's California. It should be sunny all the time. and
Should
it's
be
been
studying
really
in
great.
California.
So I'm hoping Sunday is shining.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I want some God mode like images, and I had this really cool location. It's like on the cliffs in Malibu, and then there's like these like rock that's like higher than the other, so it's almost like an X-Men apocalypse, and all the horsemen are like standing on those rocks.
Oh, that sounds hot.
That's what I'm kind of going for with this. So it'll be really cool and also to work with people. I've started to kind of collaborate a little bit more, and I have a lot more collaborations coming up, which is really cool because you just meet cool people and you're just like, you want to work with them. Like I just did a Wolverine one with Bastard. Yeah, he's a fantastic editor, and I was like, I love your shit. We got to do something together. And there's the Namor cover with what we recreated. It was the exact point to point. So he shot it on a black screen or black background and sent it to him, and he just did all the work. And
he does all the work right there.
Yeah, couple days, like it didn't even take that long. It was just really cool. And I did another great with EMG 555. He's really great. He did Husam as like one character in First Mutant, but we're gonna do another one later on, which we're really excited about. But I got a lot more planned that people don't know about. So
okay. Well, I'm glad we got the exclusive here. Stay tuned. So what about the eyebrows? Are those naturally yours? You have to fill them in. What is your approach to the eyebrows?
Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Mainly Photoshop I use for the eyebrows, just because it's a lot easier. And like I looked at how to change your eyebrows like through a tutorial, and it was just you gotta like glue down your eyebrows with like a glue stick, and then you gotta like cover it up with like makeup, and then you gotta draw them on yourself. I was like, I don't know what skin tone I am. I don't know makeup. Like this is a disaster waiting to happen. So I do like the glue stick thing if I really wanted to. Like I'll do the glue stick and like kind of just like get it up here, so it's like a little bit more raised, and then I'll take like an eyebrow pencil and like do a really bad job with it and just darken it a little bit. I didn't darken it today because I forgot to, but just to kind of get more of the whoosh going on there. So I'll probably
because he's so known for the whoosh right there.
Yeah, the Atlanteans have like these kind of eyebrows, or like that.
I actually haven't noticed. I haven't really noticed the eyebrows in your Photoshops, or excuse me, in your photo shoots. Let me see them as we're talking.
I've been a little more subtle because at first I did the really big ones, but it got a little bit harder with like some of the angles in my face, and I was just like, you know what, let's do a little bit.
Oh, I'm seeing them, but they are there. They are. I just with name. I'm not looking, especially the one with you and Wolverine. Like that's very pronounced.
Yeah, that was harder to do. I did a little
right there too.
Yeah, I did that one arched. Yeah,
that one's very arched. That's really, dude. That's gnarly. What about the ears? What's the maintenance like with the ears?
Their ears right here. They're brand new. Actually, I got them in yesterday. Because my last ones were looking really shitty after being on so many shoots. So I got to cut them off a little bit and adjust them. But I mainly wear these, and then I just Photoshop them again, clean them up a little bit. Or if I forget them, I just Photoshop the ears again and just do a little liquify on that. But I'm going to like obviously hire someone when I go to LA Comic-Con to do my eyebrows and my ears properly. But in terms of like, photo shoots, it's like, if I can do it in Photoshop, I'm not going to pay the money.
Fix it in post.
Exactly. Fix it in post. Like, who cares? Like, it's a photo. So that's that. And my ankle wings are also Photoshop as well. I do not own any ankle wings.
You don't own any ankle wings.
I'm going to make them for LA Comic-Con though. I'm going to try to make them and attach them onto the armor, because I do have like leg armor coming for this one. So that's a little hint.
That's okay. That's incredible that they're photoshopped. That's insane. Yeah. They look real. The great photoshopping skills there.
Thank you. I'm pretty fit. I've been doing it for years, so I know how to make it look realistic. So,
all right. Final question for you before we move on to Namor's history. Rank these costumes: the Black Armor, the Phoenix 5, X-Men Red, Invaders Now, and the Initiative, the Neptune armor.
I like the Black Armor. I'll go over them. The Black Armor is my favorite. I think it's slick. I think it looks amazing. I love the contrast with it, and just how the presence he brings with it. The Phoenix 5 is just iconic. It's gold. It's beautiful. The red looks fantastic with him. X-Men Red, it's great. I love the green in it. Just like how it's like a full bodysuit, but it also has like the X in it. And actually, you know what I really like is in X-Men Red, he's in the United Nations for like 4 pages. And he's wearing like this really cool outfit. It's like a full body, kind of like a I don't know how to describe it, like, you know, kind of like Asian, kind of like Japanese, like, you know, long thing with long sleeves. I don't know how to describe it, but it looks really cool. It seems like a very kingly presence. And then, you know, Invaders now is great. And then the Neptune armor, which we were talking about earlier from the initiative, with like all the gold and like this huge body armor and like this huge like trident. It's like, I just like stuff that makes him look like a king. So
Yeah.
no hate for this speed, but you know, it's big, it's bold.
He is a regal motherfucker, so he deserves to look like one.
So, and you know, I will give you a hint though. The rest, you know, my next cosplay is gonna be Namor. Big surprise.
Shocking.
The one after that is gonna be Namor. After that, it's gonna be Namor. So you heard it here first.
Right here. Here's the exclusive. It's Namor, and then Namor, and then Namor.
Oh, but you know what? Actually, that's a lie. I am gonna do Star Fox.
I felt like you did say that on your Instagram.
Yeah,
because also he's right next to Namor in the Marvel Universe poster I have, and which I'm staring at right now. See if you can see it.
That's beautiful. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I'm so happy you got it. That's so cool.
It was like years in the making.
That's what sparked it, actually, because I love Star Fox, and when I saw it, like you posted like Submariner next to Star Fox, it's like, oh my god, that's a sign. I was like, this is cool. And like, I actually did, you know, plan out a Star Fox cosplay back in 2016, but I never did it because I didn't have the skill set to do it yet. So I was like, this is a sign. I got to do Star Fox next. And so I think after my big armor builds for Namor, I'm gonna go into Star Fox and do him because I think he's so cool. He's like so underrated. He's the guy at the party you want to be friends with. He's just like so fun loving, and like he's just so, I don't know how to describe him. He's just like, he's just there to have fun. He showed up. Like I remember reading him. I was reading the Avengers, and that's where he showed up. And he was like, "Hey, I'm Star Fox. I'm gonna join the Avengers. Like, what's up?" Like, not even like hello, just like, "I'm coming to join your team. Like, here I am." Like, he's just so, you know, he's just always there to have fun. He's like a space adventurer. He's just always looking for fun and stuff. He's just a cool dude. So, and he's almost like Namor. So they're both, you know, a little bit arrogant, but like fun loving. He's a little bit more lovable though. So
a little bit more
cool. So that'll be my next one after.
All right.
So we'll change it up a little bit.
We're looking forward to that. I can't wait to see it. Yeah. So I think this wraps part 1 of our conversation here. For folks who are tuning in right now, where can folks connect with you?
It's pretty easy. Namor cosplay.
Was that just available? You were able to get it?
Wow. I was like, cool. I was like, I'll take it. You know,
that's it. Owned, trademarked.
So anyone search Namor cosplay, you can see me first. So I got that domain on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. So I got
Tumblr. That's a deep cut right there.
But Namor Nation has a lot of stuff on Tumblr, so I just like post it on there just so that way more people see my content. So it's just like a third party to put it. So
all right,
more views. So.
All right, well, we're gonna dive in to some Namor history in the next episode. So folks, follow us there.